Also, if you start reading about VLANs on other sites like Wikipedia or books, you're often going to run into something which I'm going to refer to as end-to-end VLANs. End-to-end VLANs are what was originally thought as a great idea for VLANs, but today in practice, as we're realizing more and more about how a network really needs to be built, end-to-end VLANs are a terrible idea. And what an end-to-end VLAN is when you assign a VLAN to a human job function, like you have an administrative VLAN or a sales VLAN, marketing VLAN, and so on. The problem with that is because you're going to tie VLANs to spanning tree, is your spanning tree domain gets very large and very difficult to troubleshoot. We really get into that topic as you delve into the CCNP realm and start looking at things like the BCMSN course, Building Cisco Multilayer Switch Networks. It's at that point where we really start tying the stuff together and you realize how bad of a technique end-to-end VLANs really are. So what you really want to do today is focus on building local VLANs. And a general rule I'll give to you now that if you take it now and start implementing it today, later on when you realize a lot more about how VLANs truly get implemented, you really should only be looking at most 5 VLANs on a switch. Actually, let's say 7 VLANs, and I'll give you the reasons why. You're going to have half the ports for a user data VLAN and the other half of the ports for another user data VLAN on the same switch. You'll have another set of 2 VLANs for a voice over IP VLAN if you're deploying it. So that's going to give you 4 VLANs. Half your ports are going to be in a VLAN for data and half for voice, and the other half for another data VLAN and another voice VLAN. So there's 4. You have a management VLAN, specifically so as an administrator, you could administer the switch. In this case, no other VLANs are going to have access to that management VLAN. We don't want our users to be able to manage our network devices. Some other VLANs you might consider would be things like a NAC VLAN. A NAC VLAN is a new tool that is starting to get a lot of traction in the security world, which is allowing us to make sure that our users have the proper patches and antivirus updates and so on. So if a device comes on the network and it doesn't have the proper antivirus tools, we can throw it in this NAC VLAN where it only has access to our patch servers and can download the proper patches before it gets onto the network. Another VLAN that would be considered is a dead native VLAN, but that's a topic that's way too deep for this particular section. So for those VLANs, those pretty much the maximum number of VLANs you should expect to put on a switch that's facing end users. You might end up with quite a few more VLANs or having to support all those VLANs when you're dealing with your switches that are distributing network access to your end users. But at the access layer, at the layer that's facing the users, really that's the maximum number of VLANs you should be creating on a particular switch.